2022 is getting a boatload of open world style games for various genres and platforms, and we've got 20 promising upcoming games we wanted to highlight here. So let's get started off with number 20. The first game is Sonic Frontiers. Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog is finally going completely open world. There's been lots of talk of it being inspired by Breath of the Wild. Honestly, what I look at here is just a playground for Sonic to go really fast. That's the name of the game, right? You want to be Sonic, you want to be free to go as fast as you can, wherever you can. I think they're onto something here with the open world thing. It doesn't feel as much like it's just another game jumping on the open world trend. Here with Sonic, I think the formula can actually make sense. You're going to be exploring the Starfall Islands, and there's going to be a bunch of different areas like forests, woods, snowy mountains, lava, and volcanoes, so there'll be a lot to mess with. We're just curious to see how it truly flows and how it plays. Next, over at number 19, we have Atomic Heart, which is dubbed by the developers as an open world action RPG. As you've probably seen this game before, we've highlighted it quite a bit. It's somewhat BioShock, System Shock inspired, but with even more of an emphasis on exploration and makeshift weapons, and just an incredibly unique and really spooky and horrific and unsettling setting. This is like an alternate history 1950s sci-fi Soviet setting with a bunch of monsters, creatures, weird robots, and strange technology and anomalies. Not to mention the fact that the game also just looks gorgeous. I mean, look at it. It's had a lot of NVIDIA marketing behind it already with the ray tracing and all that. But from an art design and enemy design and just environment design standpoint, I'm ready to get immersed in this pretty unique looking world. I like this vibe, so we've been keeping a close eye on this one for a while now. Now, next over at number 18, we have Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. The Avatar franchise is once again revving up its engines with James Cameron's next movie seemingly coming out soon, and Ubisoft is once again flexing that licensing, and we're getting a new Avatar game. People dunk on the movies, whatever. I think if anything, that world can translate really well to a video game, especially with some good ideas behind it. Will it fall to the typical trappings of, the Ubisoft open world formula? Maybe. But if I could run around as a crazy blue man and do stuff and fight robots, I don't know, I'm in. I'm easy to please. We're cautiously optimistic. Let's see how this one goes. Now, next over at number 17, we have DokeV, which, as you may have seen the trailer before, this game looks wildly out of this world. Essentially, what this is a big open world action adventure monster collecting game with a little bit more of like a fun, lighthearted kiddie twist, but with a bunch of different traversal options, ways to customize yourself, a lot of social features and playing with friends, and of course, some monster battling stuff. It's funny because a lot of those elements, open world, monster collecting, all that stuff sounds pretty generic, but just with this presentation here, it really looks like unlike anything we've seen before. And I buried the lead here. It's from developer publisher Pearl Abyss, the people behind Black Desert Online, so it's got some gameplay chops behind it to back it up, hopefully, so don't write this one off. And next, over at number 16, we have Crimson Desert, which is also from the people behind Black Desert Online. This may look similar at first glance, but what it is an open world action adventure game RPG with non-linear storytelling. And frankly, it looks pretty sweet. Graphically, it's really impressive, but it also just looks incredibly vast. The world looks huge, we've seen a good amount of variety, and thankfully, some cool combat sprinkled in. A good trailer like that can definitely put expectations dangerously high, but given the developer-publisher's pedigree, we're willing to keep an eye on this one. Next, over at number 15, we have Ark II, the follow-up to Ark Survival Evolved, the open-world multiplayer survival sandbox with like a sci-fi dinosaur twist. We're getting another one because the original was an absolute monster money machine. It had a ton of mainstream popularity, and this time around, seemingly Vin Diesel is on board, and we're gonna get more of an emphasis on some story-type content and seemingly a bigger, crazier, more alien sci-fi feeling world. This is, of course, once again by Studio Wildcard. As of right now, we don't know too much about it, but it is slated for 2022. Now, next over at number 14, we have The Day Before, which is a pretty interesting and ambitious mashup, seemingly with some Division-style elements where you're exploring a city, you're looting, you're occasionally encountering enemies, sometimes you're encountering player enemies, but with a big dose of The Last of Us style desperation and survival crafting and zombies. It also looks really gorgeous, and just everything we've seen from the systems to the inventory to what you're doing moment to moment, the shooting, the third-person shooting rather, the exploration, it all seems pretty sweet. We just really want to see if it's going to come together as good as it really looks. As of right now, this open world MMO survival sandbox thing is set for June 21st, 2022. Now next at number 13, coming from a similar angle, we have State of Decay 3. Undead Labs is doing it again, and they figured out a lot with State of Decay 2 and its expansions and updates, so we're really excited to see how the whole thing will fare in a third outing, because some people really love this style of game. We definitely expect this one to have like the biggest open area. There's definitely seemingly been a winter theme teased. More monster types and zombies, of course, but also some animals affected by this as well. The State of Decay games are just really cool zombie survival sandbox games that are fun to jump in with a friend. Hopefully here they really emphasize more exploration, just more things to do, and really exciting action. Again though, keep in mind at the time of making this video, we haven't seen too much of it, but we think we might see it this year. Now next at number 12, we have Saints Row. Now this new reboot definitely turns things on its head. If you ask me personally, I don't know where they could have went next with the Saints Row series. I've played every single one. They get crazier and crazier. So they're bringing things down to earth a little bit here, kind of ditching some of the aesthetics that a lot of the series has been known for. Some people seem not too happy with that. But on the flip side, gameplay-wise from what we've seen, it does seem like just more crazy Saints Row zaniness. Open world third-person action, explosions, car chases, wild weapons, customization for your characters, and a completely new world and city to explore with a totally different aesthetic. We're really excited to see just how this one pulls it all together. You know, like Saints Row games, every single one has a weird new angle for it, a reason for existing. So what is this one's other than just, you know, to reboot the franchise? We're really hoping that they have some cool ideas up their sleeve, and you know, it's our job here, so we're gonna be checking this game out and letting you guys know all about it once it releases. As of right now, it's coming summer 2022. Next, over at number 11, we have Forspoken. This is Square Enix's interesting and ambitious new open world adventure game where you play as a regular everyday woman thrust into a fantastical new universe. She has these kind of mage-like powers, and you blast and fly and dodge and float across an open environment in a very gorgeous looking game. It definitely looks like a real next-gen game. Now, what the gameplay we've seen, I've said this before, we don't know how satisfying it's going to be, but we're still at least generally curious just because some of the concepts behind it, the people behind the game, both on the development side and on like the writing side, there's some interesting stuff here. We could get a cool story. We'll find out what the deal is for real on May 24th, 2022. Next at number 10, we have Avowed. This is the next big RPG from Obsidian, the folks behind Fallout New Vegas and the Outer Worlds, stuff like that. So it's safe to say they know how to make RPGs. That, of course, comes with Microsoft and Xbox now owning them, and they put them to work on this, which so far, just from the teaser trailer we've seen, seems like a fantasy medieval RPG style game, but hopefully with a new twist, a new spin. Still, at the end of the day, like we said, we think they know how to make RPGs. And although information is pretty light on this one, we're keeping a keen eye on it. Next, over at number 9, believe it or not, is LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. This game has been in the works for so long. It has been delayed, it kind of disappeared for a while, but now it's releasing finally in 2022, and it's the most ambitious LEGO Star Wars game yet. If you are saying, what is this baby kids game about Legos and Star Wars? Well, it is so much more than that. LEGO Star Wars is a meme template, a cultural movement, really good games. Even if you're an older player, there's still a lot of fun to be had in them, and this one is ambitious as hell because it's covering the whole Skywalker saga. There's going to be multiple planets to explore, and it's going to be completely open, and it also just looks great. People are hyped for this one. It's been a while since we got a LEGO Star Wars game, or really just a solid LEGO game, so hopefully 2022 is finally the year. Next, over at number 8, we have Gotham Knights. This is the 4-player focused Batman action game, specifically focusing on the Bat family, you know, the people that Batman raised and taught, because in this game, apparently, Batman is dead, so it's up to this group to team up together and fight the bad guys of Gotham City, a seemingly open world Gotham City with vehicles and stuff you can engage in, with some Arkham-style combat with new spins because of the co-op nature. You can apparently play this completely straightforward single player, but you're going to be dealing with cool enemies like Mr. Freeze and the Court of Owls. What more could you want if you're a Batman fan? You might say Batman himself, but still, the comics have told some really great stories with these characters that mainstream audiences haven't really been exposed to, so hopefully Gotham Knights really blows it out of the water. Now, next over at number 7, spinning off of Batman, we have Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. This is the Suicide Squad game from Rocksteady Studios, the folks behind the Batman Arkham series. So they're going in a very different direction here, but it's seemingly set in the same universe as the Arkham games, and it is open world hijinks as the Suicide Squad, this new interpretation of them. And there's something wrong with the Justice League. If you're a DC Comics fan, you probably know what, but it's up to the Suicide Squad to seemingly, kill the Justice League. What we've seen implies that you're going to face off against people like Superman and the Flash and Wonder Woman, and that's pretty exciting. From a gameplay perspective, it looks like a lot of open world third-person action, and we're curious to learn more on this one. We definitely trust in Rocksteady. We really like their games, but this could be a really weird, new, strange, and interesting angle for them. Now, next over at number 6, we have S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, Heart of Chernobyl. Now, it's worth pointing out that, like a lot of games on this list, it has been delayed here and there, but we think we're still going to definitely see it in 2022, and we hope so, simply because the original S.T.A.L.K.E.R games were great. They defined PC gaming for a lot of people, and for those gameplay concepts and really that general vibe to kind of come to the modern era of gaming is just something worth celebrating. If you like post-apocalyptic anxiety and stress of like those survival-style games, or if you're a fan of the Metro series, S.T.A.L.K.E.R is something that you should definitely keep on your radar. It's a little bit different, but if it's anything like the original games, it's going to be pretty cool. Next over at number 5, we have Dying Light 2, Stay Human. Now, we've talked about this one quite a bit, but Dying Light 2 is a bigger, badder version of the original game with a bigger world, more storytelling, seemingly a lot of decisions to make that will shape the world around you, an emphasis on like a even more decaying world after this zombie outbreak, where things have decayed and kind of regressed back almost to like the Middle Ages, where there's no guns, it's all melee weapons, limited technology, and it just seems like there's a lot going on here. More parkour moves, more enemy types, more tools, more options, and we're really looking forward to it, especially if it's supported as well as the original game was. That game had legs. There was a lot of stuff to play through for a long period of time. It's definitely one of our most anticipated games of the year, so we had to mention it. Now, next over at number 4, we have Starfield. This is Bethesda's next big RPG. As of the time of making this video, we still don't know too much about it other than that it is a open exploration space RPG where you can seemingly fly to different planets or explore. There is going to be combat, there is going to be RPG elements, and we're curious to see how this goes because of Bethesda behind it. Now, a lot of people have been taking issue with Bethesda over the last few years, but putting that aside, the way we look at it is that they're finally making a game that isn't Fallout or Elder Scrolls. So we're curious to see what that means. How is this going to play? Is it going to feel different? Is it going to feel very much like their other games, but in space? I don't know, but personally, I want to see those questions answered. And I think it's going to be fun just to see how this pans out. Now, next over at number 3, we have Horizon Forbidden West. This is the PlayStation exclusive follow-up to Horizon Zero Dawn, which was a pretty awesome game, but this one seems to really blow it out of the water with crazier graphics, more enemies, more NPCs, more cultures, more towns, more side quests, crazier moves, more of an emphasis on an ability to swim, glide, use a grappling hook. There's a lot of new stuff going on here, and I think this has the potential to turn out even better than the original. We'll find out for sure soon when it releases February 18th, 2022. Now, next at number 2, you know we were going to mention it, Elden Ring, From Software's next game. The people behind Bloodborne, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, and of course, the Dark Souls series. So here they're going open world, and we're just really excited to see how From Software approaches that. It can't just be typical cookie cutter open world, right? They definitely approach things differently, and we're excited to see how it goes here. To have that challenge, to have that intensity of this RPG gameplay plopped into an open world with the freedom to bounce around and find different dungeons, there's a lot of potential for a new type of fun in a very similar Dark Souls formula, so that's why we've definitely included it on a lot of our top 10 lists. Elden Ring is releasing finally February 25th, 2022. Now down to number 1, we have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Now, still information on this one is slight. We really only have 2 teaser trailers, and so far it looks like they're definitely expanding upon some of the gameplay concepts of the original game in terms of gadgets and puzzle solving, but we're also expecting a new area. Is it going to be bigger? Maybe. There's all types of rumors and speculation about different timelines, different characters. We could speculate all day, but if you want us to just be honest with you, I don't know. It's a new Zelda game. We really liked Breath of the Wild, and they're making another one, and we're curious to to see how they put a new spin on things, but we love Zelda, so yes, we're there, day one. Hopefully it finally releases this year. Now we got some bonus games we also wanted to include. The first is Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy. This might be 2023, but we thought it was worth highlighting at least. Also, Ghostwire Tokyo, it's kind of up in the air. It seems like it might have some open elements. We're not sure, but we just wanted to drop a mention. Also, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown for you racing game fans. And the next Fable game. Xbox has been working on it. We don't know if it's going to release this year, but we wanted to cover our bases just in case it is. And also, last but certainly not least, Sons of the Forest, the long-anticipated follow-up